Hello and welcome to Q Live. I am Bill Selleck. I am Director of Technology at Hillbrook School up in the Bay Area. And with me is the illustrious, may I say illustrious?
Well, you did.
I just
said
did.
That.
The illustrious Cathy Hunt.
Hi, everybody.
She is Saturday's closing keynote. Kathy, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
So it is 3 a.m. for you right now.
It is. It's a bit brutal. So I'm hoping they've got the soft focus on and then they're making me look 20 years younger as we speak.
Did you do that for us? We got the thumbs up. Perfect. So it is not 3:30. It's 10:30 for us. So welcome.
Thank you again.
Tell us a little bit about what you're going to be talking about tomorrow.
Well, I don't want to have too many spoilers, right? But I think what I'm really excited about with the closing keynote tomorrow is really bringing a teacher's perspective, because we've had some really beautiful dialogue growth throughout the conference about technology and innovation, growth mindset. There's been some really powerful moments. And now I really want to finish with the kids. So I'm really excited to have that privilege of putting their work up on screen and really giving them a big finale, a big kind of sense of voice for the end.
That's going to be fantastic. So tell us a little bit about your iPad art room.
Well, a number of years ago, we went one-to-one at the school that I was working at, and it was a really fascinating time for me because I was given a whole lot of devices and very little kind of understanding of how to use them, I guess, was sort of accessible to me in my toolkit. And so I started blogging, and really that was about, rather than showcasing the students' work, it was about asking questions and looking for feedback. And a wonderful community of support developed for me, and I realised that my students could really make a big dent in contributing to their learning, and they could show other teachers what they're enjoying, what they're really finding valuable, and it grew from there. And so my little website that I got excited about seeing 3 or 4 people on a day has now grown to a place where often there's 5, 6, 10,000 people on a day. So to think that you can create that sort of impact is really powerful, but once again, it really comes back to the students. It's always been about their work and about an outlet for them to really feel empowered about what they can do and what they can make.
That's so fantastic. So I've heard you talk a lot about students and their works. What's some of your favorite projects you guys have done lately?
I think the projects that really come out of what the students are excited about are the ones that excite me the most. So I'm in a very fortunate position where I can really follow those leads now confidently. And so I'd love to be able to say to educators, when those moments come up where your students are curious, down tools and go with those moments, because what you see grow from those points, those sort of epic times of curiosity, that's the good stuff. That's the stuff that gets you up in the morning, and that's the stuff that has immense value for the students. I think when we started using slow shutter photography for students to create light paintings with sphero balls, and they were running around the school trying to find dark spots, that was a lot of fun for me. But every day is filled with pom-poms and pipe cleaners, mess and magic. It's a privilege to do what I do. So lucky.
Nice. I love that you talk a lot about curiosity. I wonder if you can tell us more about that. How do you so I have to teach math, I have to teach language arts. How do I actually let my students be curious? How does that fit into the school day? How do arts fit into the school day?
Well, I think in some ways there's 2 questions there, arts and how do we fit things into a very overcrowded curriculum, a place of pressure at times where we've got a lot of data and testing. And certainly I know that teachers often feel the weight of the world on their shoulders, but I would say that the curriculum doesn't actually tell us that we have to do things in certain ways. It certainly doesn't lay out that there are worksheets that we must use. And so really putting as much power back in the hands of the students as possible, I think is a really wonderful way to work. Asking students, I know it sounds simple, but asking students how they would actually like to learn about the content can be really revealing. And constantly looking to do things differently might seem like an arduous task, but actually it keeps you in the game. So when people talk about time pressure, for me, I often talk about motivation and optimism and positivity and excitement about what it is that you're doing. And then to kind of go there on the second part, and when do we have time for the arts? Well, the thing is, I really see it as when could we possibly not have time for the arts, and what would it be like to be in a school that doesn't have an arts program? And sadly there are so many that at this point really don't, or have very limited opportunities for students to engage with the arts. And so coming to a conference like Q, where there will really only be a few art teachers in the house, I think is a really powerful opportunity for us to all connect with our creativity. As human beings, we are innately creative, and I think that's a really important thing to reaffirm. And having the conversations about how all teachers can support the incredible breadth of learning opportunities that should be available at schools for students who need to be empowered to find their passion is where it's at.
I love so much of that. I'm wondering, for teachers on Monday, heading back to the classroom, how might they actually start to incorporate more art, more arts education into their lessons? Where's that first step for them?
So often, I think that's a great question, because so often I think that it's easier done than we think, and perhaps it's really connected with learning to look, learning to really see. There are opportunities around us, but taking a moment to be really present in those opportunities is important. Taking the time to ask students what they think, what they notice, before we actually put ideas into their mind about what it is that we want from them. Using the camera, for me, has been an incredibly powerful conduit towards other kinds of ways of making artworks. Students have this incredibly powerful tool in their back pocket a lot of the time now, right? By the time they're in middle school, it's probably the tool that they're most likely to use to be creative. It's that phone, right? So if they've got that phone, rather than thinking about screen time, if we can talk about the lens, and if we can talk about using it to look and to see and to engage with our world, then I think we're probably on the right track. And for me, I actually think of phones as feedback quite often. When those phones go up, if I'm talking or if we're out somewhere looking, I know that there's an engagement there, there's an excitement about something, there's a moment where they want to keep something, have a point of reference for later, hold on to a moment. So to me, the lens is probably a really great starting point in thinking about how the camera can be really authentically included in our curriculum. More often across subjects would be a great start.
I love that so much. So moving forward, what are you excited about doing with your students, or what are they excited about doing?
Again, like two different things, but completely aligned, right? What gets me excited is seeing their excitement. So I'm always sort of after the next new thing. I'm always looking at what it is that they can bring to the table. I love it when they bring me into their world and show me what it is that's trending, what's hot right now. When I get sent memes and different apps that they're using for learning. But, it's also loving that they can discover a 400-year-old intaglio printing technique on the same day as their Snapchat goes wild with something that they've produced in my art class. I love that it isn't about getting rid of anything in the classroom. There's a truly mixed media world that we live in now. And so honouring that with really meaty arts learning programs, I think, is very, very important. These kids are still just as interested in oil painting or sculpting with clay, and they need it more than ever. In a world where we see students who at times struggle with fine motor skills because they're not playing as much, they're not getting as messy, as dirty, we need our art programs. You can be at a restaurant and see a child pick up a glass and not understand how that glass was made, have any idea about the idea that, constructing a tower might require a stable base, and the thinking around some of these things that are foundational for so many other kinds of ideas is, it gets me up in the morning, because I know that this is valuable stuff, and there's just not enough talk about it. So once again, I thank you for the opportunity to be at Q and to be presenting some of these ideas directly from the classrooms that are doing this beautiful work.
Yeah, absolutely. So how can people keep in touch with you? How can they learn more about what you and your students are doing?
Yeah, well, I'm on the internet kind of 24/7. We were just joking before, saying that I'm only 15 years old. This 37-looking exterior is really just the result of a lot of screen time, and it's because I love the community, the global connections that I've been able to make and bring back to the classrooms. And at Twitter, I find that there's a lot of engagement, so I'm at art_Cathy Hunt. And my website is ipadartroom.com, and you'll find a whole lot of free courses and books. Everything that I do is about sharing the love of learning, and I'm just really passionate about educators coming together as a community. So everything there is for you guys.
Great. Thanks for talking with us, Cathy.
Thanks for having me.